Hi everyone. I wanted to actually start making some videos of my meal prep. I've gotten so much positive feedback from my friends and family about the meal preps that I've been making the last couple of weeks, and it really actually got me thinking about, well, I have a lot of downtime in this quarantine period. Why not start making some YouTube videos and see if it could help everybody else? I want to go ahead and show you an example of what I'm going to be doing for the week for 2 people. And also I wanted to quickly mention that I'm going to have another video explaining how I'm meal prepping, how I go grocery shopping, how I make those lists, and exactly what I do prior to the meal prep to get ready for this video. So if you are interested, please click the link in the description. I highly recommend watching that video first. And here we go. The first dish that we're going to make is going to be a sweet potato dish. Because this dish does have ingredients that may take a little bit longer to cook than some other ingredients, we're gonna go ahead and just put the sweet potatoes on this pan for now. So we're just going to evenly distribute them, spread them out a little bit, and then I'm going to put just a very little bit of oil, sprinkle it all throughout, and then we'll do salt and pepper and the Cajun seasoning just to get started. Now I know that looks like a lot of Cajun seasoning, but I definitely like my meals a little bit spicy. So now what I'm gonna go ahead and do is I'm just going to mix everything together, put this in the oven at 425 and let it cook for about, I'm gonna say 5 to 10 minutes. It really just depends on how you want your potatoes to turn out. So while the sweet potatoes are in the oven, I like to get my marinades for the chicken started just because they do need to marinate for about 30 minutes in the fridge. The first one that I'm going to be doing is a Greek chicken. Go ahead and add the sliced chicken to my bag. All right, and then I'm going to take my lemon and I'm gonna go ahead and give that a really nice squeeze and take the Greek yogurt, take the dill. The other thing that I do like to add is salt and pepper to taste. So that's going to be completely to your preference. And that's looking pretty good right now. I'm pretty happy with the way that that turned out. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this in the fridge. Well, actually, I'll put this to the side because this other marinade is really, really easy. So the next one that I'm going to be doing is going to be for our caprese chicken. Super easy marinade, sometimes less is more. So I'm gonna go ahead and add that chicken in here. Put that oil, vinegar, and then again, salt and pepper to taste. Yeah, that's looking really good. Okay, perfect. So we can just go ahead and move both of these to the fridge. The sweet potatoes are actually just about to be done. So we're just gonna grab those and take this broccoli, add it to the sheet pan, and kind of spread that out evenly. Be very careful because the sweet potato is definitely gonna be hot, especially because it was cooking at 425. I also changed the temperature to 400 just because I want this to cook at a lower temp for the rest of the meal. So I'm just gonna go ahead and distribute these sliced red onions throughout. And the onion helps give it just a deeper flavor, and it goes really, really well with the broccoli and the sweet potato. I'm gonna add a little bit more oil, and I'm going to add more of that Cajun seasoning and slightly more salt and pepper. Put this in the oven for at least another 15 to 20 minutes. I think that's a pretty solid cooking time. And then you'll want to add the black beans in for the last 5 minutes of whatever cooking preference you have. I like my broccoli super crisp and almost a little bit burnt. So that's how we're going to be preparing this dish today. To just get our Mediterranean salad prepped really quickly while we pull out the sweet potatoes, because those are actually done. So I don't want to keep them in the oven for too long. So I have sliced cucumbers. I also chopped up some tomatoes, so I'm going to add those into the salad, and onion as well. So I'm just going to pop that in. And when you're making this dish, I have this as just the cucumber, tomato, red onion, but you can add in garbanzo beans just to add a little bit more heartiness. When I make the Mediterranean salad that you're going to see a little bit later, I do add the garbanzos on top so that it is a vegan-friendly meal. And then all I'm going to do is just quickly stir this up. Towards the end, once I'm ready to actually divide this, I do add the Greek vinaigrette just so that it has some time to sit and really get the flavors melded. But we'll go ahead and set that off to the side and take out the sweet potato, the finished product of our sweet potato dish. Everything looks so delicious. It's cooked perfectly. So I'm just going to go ahead and set that off to the side right now until we're ready to plate. What I am going to do though is transition over to this side. So I've taken out the chicken that was marinating in the balsamic and warm up over medium heat. I put, as you can see, just enough oil to coat the bottom of the pan. You want the oil to get really hot, and you're going to pan sear each piece for about a minute each side, maybe a little bit less, just so that you can get a little bit of color before you actually put it into your glass dish. And then we're going to go ahead and add the basil pesto on top so that it's really, really delicious. And then we have our side that we're going to be making as well. Now that you can see the oil is starting to, it almost looks like it's going to smoke. That's how you know it's ready. So I'm just going to go ahead and kind of spread this oil around a little bit more, and then I'm going to start laying the chicken on the pan. And you want to put it from the bottom to the tip, because as it starts spraying, you don't want to get hit with that oil. All right, I think we're ready to move it over. So I'm just gonna go ahead and take that off and just place it in my glass pan. And you definitely wanna take the chicken off in the order that you put it on. So I know that's not always, you know, the easiest to keep track of, but try and keep it consistent so that they're even cook times. I'm going to add the basil pesto to the chicken. And you're just gonna take a little bit and put that in the center of each. We want to make sure that there's enough for each of them. You don't need a ton of this, but it's definitely going to add to the flavor. All right, so then you'll just want to spread this out so it coats the top of each piece of chicken. This is just going to elevate that chicken dish just a little bit. After we put this in the oven, we're going to cook it at 375, and you want to get it to an internal temperature of 165. Now we are going to be adding a little bit of tomato and some fresh mozzarella at the end just to make it that caprese chicken. And we're going to top that with some fresh basil. It's a fantastic dish. Now that the chicken is ready to go, I'm just gonna do our side because I do love asparagus. It's a great side for the caprese. So I'm just going to take this out of my cup. I always store my asparagus with just a really little bit of water in a glass in the fridge. It helps keep them super fresh. You just cut off the ends, and I am going to add a little bit of olive oil, favorite, and then some salt to taste and some pepper to taste. Keep in mind that this is going to be a really simple seasoning as well. I don't like to put a lot on my asparagus. I just like to keep it pretty basic. So while the chicken is cooking in the oven, I do want to go ahead and get the veggie stir fry prepped. So what we did is we grabbed the wok. I have some oil in the pan here. It's just olive oil. It is very hot, so keep that in mind. I pre-scrambled 2 eggs, which I'm going to throw in right now. So just go ahead and get that going. You're gonna notice it cooks super quick, so definitely make sure that you're moving it around. So once this solidifies a little bit, we're going to add in some onions and a little bit of garlic. Oh, look at that. It cooks so quickly. I love it. All right, so I have just under a cup of chopped onions. We're gonna add that in. We've got 2 cloves of garlic pre-sliced, so we're gonna go ahead and add that in as well. All right, and then just kind of gonna mix this up a little bit, let it get cooking. Some really great color on here. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to add in 1.5 cups of pre-cooked white rice. So I did cook that ahead of time just because I make such large quantities of the rice. It's usually about 2 cups uncooked that we pre-cook. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get that in here and let it really start to heat up. And see some of the other ingredients that we have. So I have 1 cup of garbanzos. I have some rice vinegar, some gluten-free soy sauce. I have a little bit of sesame oil, and then I have a frozen pack of broccoli stir fry. That's really the easiest way if you want something quick and easy. Get the frozen stuff. It's okay if you don't want to purchase each of the fresh ingredients separately. Sometimes that can be more costly, or sometimes you may not have those things in your fridge. This is definitely a more cost-effective option and tastes just as good. So I'm gonna go ahead and add in half of the gluten-free soy sauce. So I poured out about 1/4 of a cup into my container. Just add in half of that, all of the rice vinegar. It's about a shot glass pour. So go ahead and feel free to do that. And then I'm going to take the sesame oil, very, very little bit of that. You're just gonna go ahead and pour it in. That's gonna give it a really nice texture. We're just gonna stir this around. And the reason why you wanted to put the rice in first is because it helps it not get as soggy once the sauce is added in. Oh, look at that color, and it smells amazing. I wish you could smell the aromas coming off of this right now, but you definitely will be able to know how delicious it is once you try it. In those frozen veggies right now, just get that in. And you're basically just gonna cook this down until the veggies are done. And halfway through the cooking, once those veggies aren't frozen anymore, you want to add the rest of the soy sauce. And then you're also gonna add in the garbanzos at this point. So we're just gonna check the temperature on this chicken really quick. I'm gonna go in that smallest piece right in the center. It's at 133, we'll let that go. Just go ahead and put 1 tomato slice on each of the pieces here. And then I'm going to also cover it with some mozzarella. This is starting to look really good. Those veggies are almost done cooking through, so I'm gonna go ahead and add in the rest of the soy. This is a very, very healthy alternative. It's a little bit higher in sodium just because it is a soy sauce. So I would definitely limit the amount of salt that you're using in your meals in the same day with this one, and that'll just help keep your sodium levels within a reasonable amount for the whole day. So we're just going to cook this off a little bit more. Our caprese chicken is starting to look really, really good. The cheese is finally starting to melt. I just turned the asparagus, so it's all finally coming together. We're getting close to the end of this meal prep, and it does take so much time to get the meal preps together, but at the end of the day, it saves you an extreme amount of time when you're coming home from work, or if you're busy with the kids, you can just go ahead and pop those meals right out of the refrigerator, warm them up, and they're ready to go. It's definitely one of the best stress relievers that I have in my life right now. I'm gonna go ahead and let this finish off a little bit more, and I'm going to recheck the chicken temperature just to see where we're at, because I don't want them to overcook and get dry. This is looking really great. I think we're done. I'm just going to turn off the heat and get this off of the wok and into a bowl. So there you have it, our veggie fried rice. And I will say, if you're a meat eater and you do not like the idea of garbanzo, sorry, I know I say garbanzo wrong and weird, you can always put chicken, shrimp, any type of meat that you like into the stir fry. All of these recipes that I'm going to be showing you can either be made to be either vegetarian or vegan friendly. Like for example, this recipe, if you didn't want to use egg, that would automatically make it vegan. So there are a lot of perks to cooking at home and using different variations. And if there are any questions, please don't hesitate to leave a comment. I'm more than happy to send you alternatives for whatever recipe that I'm making to meet your dietary needs. I'll just go ahead and set this to the side, and we are going to get the rest of our meals prepped. Now we're on to prepping our breakfast. We had the caprese chicken that's done. We grilled the Greek chicken, and both of them turned out great, but we definitely need to get breakfast in too because we're meal prepping for the week. Let's go ahead and add our eggs into the water. Now some people like to start with the eggs in cold water. I don't. I like to get the water hot and then add the eggs in, and then I like mine cooked for about 13 minutes. So I am going to set a timer just to make sure that they're actually in here for that 13-minute period. and get them really to that point where I like them personally. And then what I'm also going to do while that's working, I already have turkey bacon on sheet pans. Oven is already at 375 because of the chicken. So I'm just going to add those in and have that cook while we get some of our sauces and other breakfast ready. Let's go ahead and do the smoothie packets. The way that I make my smoothie packets is actually really simple. I take 1 banana and then I do 1/3 cup of frozen mixed tropical fruit. Doesn't matter, you can do strawberries, you can do any kind of fruit that you like, but this is what I feel works the best for me. And for my smoothie pack, I'm just gonna take about half the banana. I know that that's not like the prettiest or most precise way, but that's how you know that you're getting similar amounts. And I know this does not look pretty when I'm using my hands like this, but I don't really care. So I'm gonna go ahead and just add the frozen fruit pieces in, and then we'll put these to the side. Now we're gonna come back and actually do our tzatziki sauce. So I already have chopped dill, and then go ahead and add the 1/2 cup here and add in the cucumber. Really squeeze that lemon, garlic salt, and just kind of sprinkle that in. Dab of oil. This is looking a little bit more dill heavy than it is cucumber heavy. And we personally love cucumber in all of our dishes. You're gonna see just how messy this process is. But I'm just gonna sit here and I'm gonna grate this. It looks like a goopy mess. I did not want to do this on camera just because it's not exactly the prettiest combination, but at the same time, like, this is exactly what you'd be doing in your kitchen, and you might be wondering if this is wrong, if yours is coming out this way. It is supposed to look like a goopy mess. It's okay. And finish off. Cucumber down. All right, that cucumber's not being used anymore, so I'm just gonna wipe this off. It's pretty much where I want it to be. I'm really happy with it. So our eggs are finally done. I just turned the turkey bacon. I like to get it cooked really nice and crisp on both sides. I probably like mine cooked a little bit more than most people, but I'm just going to add these eggs to ice water, and that's gonna help them cool down before I take them out and put them in the fridge. There we go, timer's going off for the turkey bacon, so we'll be taking that out in just a moment. I did make some roasted potatoes to go with the Greek chicken, but the camera died in the middle of filming, so unfortunately I'm not going to have that on camera for you. But I do have the last breakfast that I'm going to prep, so I just wanted to bring your attention to that. Here, use just basically a 1/4 cup of your favorite granola. This is gluten-free granola mix that I like. And then I have the remainder of the Greek yogurt that was left over from the container that we used throughout this meal. And then I also cut up some fresh strawberries, and then I had some raspberries, blueberries, and blackberries left over from last week's meal prep, and I really need to use those this week, so it's important to really take a look at what's in your fridge and how you can utilize them. So I'm just gonna go through and prep this a little bit more for breakfast. I'm just gonna add in my berries. Now that that's done, we have our last breakfast prepped, so I'm gonna go ahead and plate everything, and it's going to look a little overwhelming at first, but I can guarantee that by utilizing these steps and the recipes that I've given you, it will make your life easier in the long run. So I'm just gonna go through everything that I've done. The hard-boiled eggs and the baked turkey bacon, I usually just leave as is and grab kind of buffet style. You've already seen that I have the Greek yogurt, fruit, and granola cups, so those are all here. Now this is the fruit portion of my smoothie. I do add about 1.5 to 2 cups of fresh spinach, and then a cup of coconut milk. But then if you come over here, these are the caprese chicken and asparagus meal preps. It doesn't seem like it's a lot. You could probably do a little bit more asparagus if you wanted. I just try to not overwhelm myself because I do snack throughout the day. And then if you move on over, these are going to be the vegan rice, sweet potato, black bean, and broccoli bowls that have the Cajun seasoning on them. So these 3 have rice. I left the Mediterranean salad. I added the Greek vinaigrette, which I leave on the side because otherwise it tends to make sides soggy. So then I have a couple of Mediterranean salads here. I have 2 vegan ones, and then I have one with meat. One is made with mixed grains as well. I keep the garbanzos on the side because I do like to sometimes eat the Mediterranean salad as a meal, just add in the garbanzos when I want them. Moving over, we have our Greek chicken with homemade tzatziki and roasted potatoes. And right now, this plate, again, looks a little bit empty, but you're going to be eating that with the Mediterranean salad. So all of those flavors paired together are absolutely delicious. And then last but not least, I also have the veggie fried rice. So that is going to complete all of the meals for the week. I hope you enjoyed this video and have a great day.